You were at the bookstore.
Oh, yeah. I almost fired you. I was writing up your letter of termination.
Letter of termination.
You're lucky I love you. Anybody else I'd terminate.
Thank you, Devin. Welcome to Modern Day Messengers, everyone. I'm Trey. This is Devin.
Me, I'm Devin.
He's Devin.
He's not Trey Devin. I'm Devin. He's Trey.
That's right. So what's up, y'all? Hope y'all have had a great week so far. We're recording at nighttime due to minor food poisoning.
Due to people being too famous.
Yeah, I don't know who that could be. Anyway,
he had to go play a concert for the president, and he was in the White House playing the concert, and he made it back in time today. You know, he did his concert and flew right back in. The helicopter's still in the yard.
What do you come up with this stuff?
The things that pass through my mind that I don't say should be what concerns you. Not
it does. It does, because the things that come out your mouth, I'm just like...
Dude, speaking about crazy things that come out of my mouth. Okay, so you know how I've been working really hard since February on losing weight?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm 30 pounds down now.
Okay.
So, I had a dream that freaked me the mess out.
Tell us.
Okay, so laugh all you want, because it is funny, but it's scary at the same time. So, I had a dream I'd lost all this weight. My weight goal was there, which I'm only 7 pounds away from, by the way.
Right.
But I may end up going lower. But anyway, I lost all this weight, and I had a dream. I had all this loose skin, like the people that lose like 100, 200 pounds.
Like the 600-pound life.
Yes. So, in my dream, I looked like that. And
yeah.
I had all this loose skin on my chest, and the loose skin made it hang down so low that I couldn't I guess fit in a shirt properly.
Yeah.
So I would tuck the skin of my chest in my pants.
Yeah. You're not that bad.
And the crazy thing is, when I woke up, I freaked out because I thought it was real.
Oh my god!
And I was in the bathroom like, man, I gotta get surgery. I can't do this. And I was like, wait a minute, that was a dream.
Oh my goodness, dude, that's crazy.
You ever had a dream that you thought was real?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't like it.
Yeah, I've had several of those dreams. Anyway, but let's talk about the bowling night.
We did. We had
guys' night out.
Yep, just get some of the people from our inner circle that we do life with, and we decided to make a little guys trip or guys' night out of it. Was out there bowled for about 2 hours.
Yeah, it was great, man. Shout out Ben, the hidden professional.
Yeah. Ben's over here sandbagging us, and he's over here hitting, 150, which I know a perfect score is 300, but when you're around a bunch of people that suck as bad as I do,
that's pretty good.
150 is pretty impressive.
That's pretty good. We were struggling to break 100.
Yeah, I think he hit 3 strikes in a row at one time.
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah. So I don't ever hit over 100.
Yeah.
And my phone just went off.
That's all good.
Yeah, so I don't ever hit over 100, and I said I'm gonna hit over 100 today. On that last game we played. Do you remember what I hit?
Like a 120?
No. I hit a 99. I was 1 pin shy away from breaking or making 100.
I will say
I
haven't seen anyone hit so many gutters.
Oh shit. Look, and then I threw one so hard while the gate was down because we were running out of time.
Oh, yeah.
I think we were down to 1 minute, and we were trying to speed run that thing to get as many bowls as we could.
That's right.
And I threw a ball so hard, when it hit the gate that was down,
yeah,
the ball rolled all the way back.
It did. It hit the thing, hit the gutter on the way back, and it rolled all the way with force.
Yeah. It was I sat down. I'm like, oh gosh, it wasn't me. Don't let security come tackle me.
Yeah, he turned so red. He's like, all right, I have to leave.
We got to leave. I'm about to go to jail.
That was a lot of fun, but yeah, we definitely need to make that a regular thing.
Yeah, we actually talked about our next little trip going skeet shooting.
Yeah, that's right,
man. And that's the name of the game, man. You got to do life with people, man. You can't just have church friends at church, like, man. You got to do life with people, man. And And especially men, like, we're in our DNA, we are activity driven.
Yeah.
Like, I can't remember who I heard say it, but they say, men operate shoulder to shoulder. And it was kind of the analogy of like going to war, like your brother in arms is right beside you and you're aiming at the targets, the bad guys, and you're in formation shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah.
So, find a group of men, do life with them, and you know, be that good person for them, and enrich their lives. It'll enrich yours too.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Very cool. So we hope y'all having a great evening. We are. Thanks, Devin, for meeting me so late. I don't even have my watch on me.
It is 8:59
It's basically 9 o'clock.
p.m.
Past our bedtime.
Yeah.
Past a lot of y'all's bedtime. But good thing about being pre-recorded, you can watch it whenever.
Yep. And so let's talk about a few things that we got going on before we get into tonight's tips.
Yep.
So how can people get involved with Men of Courage on a weekly basis?
On a weekly basis?
On our Thursday.
Thursday?
Go ahead and
Yes.
talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, Thursday morning, 6 a.m. when I don't sleep in.
Oh, he don't sleep in.
I don't sleep in. Black Rifle Coffee, 6 a.m. Thursday mornings. We do a Men of Courage Bible study. Everyone is welcome. And we just go basically every man is welcome. And we do like basically what we do here. We pick a book, read through a chapter, discuss it. And so it's a great time, and we get to hear a lot of great testimony stories on how God's changing people's lives every day.
Yep.
We sit down and pray with each other, and just it's kind of it could be a small group kind of thing. I think the most we've ever had was maybe like 8 people.
No, we've had 12.
12 people.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. I mean, because it's big enough to where you're doing life as a community,
Right.
but it's small enough to where people feel that they can open up and be honest about things. Man, and I'm not going to put anybody's business out there, but like we've had some serious conversations in that stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
Some serious hang-ups, some serious struggles, and that's what it's about, man. When you get to in a group of men that will be honest with each other and lift each other up, that will not just cast people out when they fail. I mean, that's where real life change can happen, because like if I'm struggling with something and I come to Trey like, hey man, I'm struggling with this, and I can be honest with him, and he's like, okay, let's work through this.
Right.
Instead of, oh man, you did that? Man, you're sick.
You're sick in the head, bro. I can't hang out with you no more.
Yeah, I mean, but that's
Yeah.
that's where a lot of healing will come.
Yeah, it sure does. And then when you talk deeper about deeper things, you go deeper and find out a lot of great things to work through. And
A lot of men have a lot of similar struggles.
yeah, well, I took my boy to the movies. We went to see the
Inside Out 2?
Yep,
Yep.
it's pretty good.
I have not seen it, but me and Kristen actually talked about it on the way home from church tonight.
You should. And I'm looking through this. I saw part 1, and I was like, obviously there's not little people in my brain that I don't know. I don't know. There might be.
Have you met you?
No.
Yeah.
but it was like it was basically a symbolism of like suppressing depression or suppressing like good kind of sadness, and like how you can like blow up, and like so like, and even the second one, it's already in the movie trailer, so it's not giving anything away, but just suppressing emotions or trying to get rid of your emotions and stuff. I was like, this movie actually goes pretty deep. Like,
I heard it was good.
yeah, but it just reminded me as I was watching it, like our emotions are like they're gifts from God, and then we have to use them accordingly, and also accept things. Like sometimes things are sad, and we have to work through those things. Like when you lose a loved one or something. I mean, that sucks, and it's very sad. But to have a group of men to talk about it with that can kind of understand and relate, and because there's a few of us, we all experience different things, and it's a really great time. So Thursdays, 6 a.m. Black Rifle Coffee. Another thing about Black Rifle Coffee.
I'm about to say, let's get into the big announcement.
Yeah,
You want it or me?
you got it. I already have my mic time.
August 2nd. Doors open at 5 o'clock p.m. Am I right on that?
You're right on that.
Okay. Doors open at 5 o'clock p.m. in Black Rifle Coffee. We're having our first big Men of Courage event. And it's going to be awesome, man. So, Trey's daddy is actually doing a jambalaya, white beans, and is it French bread?
I don't know what he's doing. French bread.
How do you not... His own daddy, he don't know. But anyway, so that meal, and this is some south of I-10 jambalaya. This ain't This ain't Texas jambalaya. This real
Yeah.
jambalaya.
Hey, don't be putting the pressure on him. He gets nervous.
No, but
I
I
don't
mean,
know. I don't know if he's in another room or not.
his dad's probably one of the best cooks around here. I think.
Yeah, he is good.
But so that meal's gonna be completely covered by the Men of Courage.
Yeah, it's free. Come on out.
Nobody has to pay anything for it. But you come in, um, you're gonna be able to eat. We're
Yep.
gonna have some door prizes, some raffle type stuff,
Yep.
and the shotgun that we're still selling tickets for will finally have a new owner that night.
Yeah. Hat.
Yeah, so we'll be drawing for that.
Yep.
But then we'll hear some incredible worship, probably. Is your phone vibrating?
Oh, it is mine. Huh. It's my friend. It's my friend Dane. Let me make sure he doesn't need anything. Break.
Where was I at on that?
I don't know what's up. We're back. My phone was ringing. It was my Canadian buddy, making sure he was out of trouble.
You threw me off now. Now I don't remember what we were talking about.
I have no idea.
You're gonna hear some decent worship by some guy.
That's where you left off.
Some guy who does some
Trey,
kind of singing.
go troll.
Yeah, he's alright. Nah, it's gonna be an incredible time of worship. He's gonna lead us in some good worship, and we have one of the people I think most highly of on this planet gonna be doing our guest speaking, Stephen LaCourse. If you have not got a chance to meet Stephen LaCourse, hear him preach, or just pour into your life, men, you need to show up.
Steven.
So, I mean, Trey can attest because he's been around Stephen preaching at the jail. And what do you think about it?
I've seen him in action. And let me tell you, he tells the truth.
And it's going to hurt your feelings sometimes. But,
Yeah.
I mean, the man has a heart for God, and he has a heart for
does.
people. And man, it's incredible to see that.
Yeah.
But, like I said, we're gonna have some good food, some good worship, some amazing preaching, some prizes, some gifts. I mean, it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a great guy too. So anyway, y'all come out August 2nd, 5 p.m. I think that's everything.
Yep.
Sweet. Well, we left off in Luke chapter 22. We are now in 23, and I think we only have one more chapter.
Yep.
We do. Before we finish Jesus' ministry on Luke's record.
Luke's account of the gospel
of Jesus Christ.
Now say it all together.
Luke's account of the gospel of Jesus Christ. Amen. Sorry.
I'll write you a note and you just read.
Yeah. You need
to get you a teleprompter.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great. I don't like thinking of words. It's like
words they hurt.
Anyway, so we're in Luke chapter 23. We're going to be talking about Pontius Pilate, everything, and then, man, that's crazy. Hold on. All right. I don't want to get too much into it. I got to stay focused. All right, so I'm just going to read the first couple of sections, and then we can just kind of talk about it. I'm like verse 1 through 12, basically.
Sounds good to me.
A lot of stuff is just a historical narrative, so I don't know if there'll be anything to discuss because it kind of just talks about what happened. So, yeah. All right. Verse 1, Then the whole multitude of them arose and led him to Pilate, and they began to accuse him, saying, We found this fellow perverting the nation. That's a pretty strong accusation right there.
Yep.
And forbidding to pay taxes to Caesar, saying that he himself is Christ, a king. So first off, I mean, verse 2, they're starting off with a lie. You know, this is not true. They're falsely accusing him of something, you know.
Yeah.
Then Pilate asked him, saying, Are you the king of the Jews? He answered him and said, It is as you say. So Pilate said to the chief priests and the crowd, I find no fault in this man. But they were more fierce, saying, He stirs up the people, teaching throughout all Judea, beginning from Galilee to this place. Okay, so this guy is the guy who can tell whether to crucify him or not crucify him, right? They obviously come up with this false accusation. He says, I find no fault in this man. That wasn't good enough. Verse 5, they were more fierce in saying that he teaches through all Judea and all the way to this place right here, you know?
Yeah.
And so in verse 6, it says, When Pilate heard of Galilee, he asked if the man were a Galilean. And as soon as he knew that he belonged to Herod's jurisdiction, he sent him to Herod, who was also in Jerusalem at the time. Now when Herod saw saw Jesus, he was exceedingly glad, for he had desired for a long time to see him, because he had heard many things about him, and he hoped to see some miracle done by him. Then he questioned him with many words, but he answered him nothing. The chief priests and the scribes stood vehemently. Luke loves that word.
Vehemently.
Accused him.
I'm glad you read that, because that one always throws me off.
I know.
It's like saying Jesus' last name. It just does not.
Doesn't roll off your tongue, huh?
Yeah, I'm going to blame it on the hearing aid.
That's it. Do it. Then Herod with the men of war treated him with contempt and mocked him, arrayed him in a gorgeous robe, and sent him back to Pilate. That very day, Pilate and Herod became friends with each other, for previously they had been at enmity with each other. So we'll stop there and just kind of discuss what's going on here. We see Jesus is kind of on trial, or the beginning of it.
Yeah.
Pontius Pilate said there's no fault in this man. Herod was actually excited to see that he may see some miraculous show of Jesus. But you can obviously see when Jesus kind of ignored him, then they treated him with contempt, mocked him, and then they gave him a robe, mocking him, basically saying, because he said he agreed with Pontius Pilate that he was the king of the Jews. And we obviously see in verse 3 it said, "It is as you say." So he agreed with him. They're putting him on this stuff. And then in verse 12, I thought, I've never heard this before, that that very day Pilate and Herod became friends with each other, for previously they had been at enmity with one another. So
they're trying to get him in blasphemy, right?
Right.
So, which, huge sin. But and you've heard it before, if why didn't Jesus just tell him that he was the Son of God?
Right. Well, he did.
He did.
I
mean, it is as you say, he is
right.
the Son of Man.
Right.
And he's been telling people since he started this ministry.
We'll go back to Luke chapter 22 right here. Right in verse 70, they all said, "Are you then the Son of God?" And he said to them, "You rightly say that I am."
Mm-hmm.
So he's obviously completely said it plainly to them. But even then, after all this happened, he even said, "Are you the king of the Jews?" And he agreed with him. Right after that, verse 4, he said, and Pontius, the chief priests, so Pilate said to the chief priests and the crowd, "I find no fault in this man." So
Pilate had a lot to lose by having Jesus crucified too.
Absolutely.
I know you know a lot more about that than I do, so I'll let you speak on that.
Or a little bit of actual Roman history. He was so brutal. Pilate was. He was slaughtering many Galileans.
And he wasn't. He was getting in trouble for that.
Yeah, he was actually getting in trouble. I mean, we're talking about the messenger came to Pilate and said that, "Hey, if you keep on doing this, you're going to be demoted or revoked, from your position."
Yeah.
So he was kind of in a tough situation right here, saying that, okay, if I keep, it didn't. He said, when Pilate heard of Galilee, he asked if the man were Galilean, because of that specific fact that he was killing, he was murdering Galileans. And so anyway, so he said, if they continue, we're going to remove you. And so he was kind of fearful of his position.
Yeah. Well, we'll get into that in a minute. Pilate even tries to, even through all this, he still tries to create an avenue of escape. And it's not necessarily because he doesn't want to crucify Jesus. If you look at the Roman history, he's very pro crucifixion.
Yeah, right.
He's really pro beating and killing and stuff.
This is not a nice guy.
Yeah, so he's not trying to find an avenue out for Jesus' sake. He's trying to find an avenue out for his own sake. We'll see that here in a minute when we get to reading when he goes with the Jewish past, this tradition of releasing a prisoner.
Because even this dude, even Pilate knows that Jesus is not, if he can't find a fault in him, right, a true fault, he's not going to risk his job for it.
Yeah.
That should tell you something right there.
Yeah.
So, anyway, we're going to get here right here in verse 13. and this is the taking the place of Barabbas. You want to read that?
Yep. All right. Then Pilate, when he had called together the chief priests, the rulers, and the people, said to them, "You have brought this man to me as one who misleads the people. And indeed, having examined him in your presence, I have found no fault in this man concerning those things in which you accuse him of. No, neither did Herod, for I sent you back to him. And indeed, nothing deserving of death has been done by him. I will therefore chastise him and release him." There you go, another avenue for escape.
Right.
For it was necessary for him to be released, to release one of them at the feast.
Now, was this? I did have a question for you on this.
Okay.
As I read this, was this a custom back then? Was that like?
Yes, it was on. And I give me a second. I know I had it in here somewhere.
Because they're saying it was necessary for him to release one.
So at the time of the feast, it was a customary thing or tradition. I can't remember exactly.
To release a prisoner.
To release the prisoner back. Back.
Okay, all right.
And I had the note on it, and I left it in my other notebook at the house.
He has a lot of notebooks.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I have a whole book bag full of them, and I don't ever know which one's which.
Yeah.
But anyway. And they all cried out at once, saying, "Away with this man, and release to us Barabbas, who has been thrown into prison for certain rebellion made in the city and murder." And I actually was looking it up while you were talking on it last one, and I knew Barabbas had some kind of meaning to it. Son of the father, son of the teacher. And I just thought that was interesting. Well, I'll get into that in a minute. Pilate, therefore, wishing to release Jesus, again called out to them, but they shouted, saying, "Crucify him, crucify him." Can you imagine this?
Right.
This ministry that he's had going on for so long. Well, I mean, 33 some odd years of life, but for the past 3 some odd years, I mean, people have seen healing. They've heard incredible messages. I mean, they have seen the things that he has done, and you just turn on him so quickly.
Yeah,
Crucify him.
That's right.
Crucify him, man. Then he said to them a third time, "Why? What evil has he done? I have found no reason for death in him. I will therefore chastise him and let him go." Again, trying to get out again. But they were insistent, demanding with a loud voice that he be crucified. And the voices of these men and the chief priests prevailed. So Pilate gave the sentence that it should be as they requested. And he released to them the one they requested, who for rebellion and murder had been thrown into prison, but he delivered Jesus to their will.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's so crazy. Yeah, before we get into this, when you read, just make sure you're talking in the mic.
Do I need to go back?
No. You can hear it. It's just low. It's gonna be low.
Do I need to?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Do we need to go back and reread it?
No, I think we're good.
You sure?
Yeah. I mean, I could hear it. It was just low, but like
I moved too much.
Yeah, it's okay.
Check a check.
Yeah, you good though. All right, let's go back. So
I can reread that section. It's not a big deal if you want to. I mean, how low was it?
It was pretty good. It's the microphone catches pretty much all the way around.
Yeah.
Even like this way, but your mouth was like right here.
Oh.
So it just sounded different. But anyway, all right. I'm just gonna start talking and I'll cut it in right here.
Okay.
So that's crazy, man. They literally chose Barabbas, who he clearly said that who had been thrown into prison for a certain rebellion made in the city and for murder. They know he's a criminal and everything. And someone had a pretty cool take on this. And I actually heard a song. I forgot his name, but he's like, "I am Barabbas." But this was like a picture of like how Jesus takes on like all sin, like any sin whatsoever, right? So like, it was just kind of like that. Like the song kind of described like, well,
we are Barabbas.
Like we are Barabbas. That's kind of what he was saying, like just symbolically.
So I actually have something on here, my study notes on the Bible that will lead right into what you're about to say, and I'll let you pick it back up. Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
So Barabbas had been part of a rebellion against the Roman government. As a political insurgent, he was no doubt a hero among some of the Jews. Uh, he was no doubt a hero among some of the Jews. How ironic it is that Barabbas, who was released, was guilty of the very crime Jesus was accused of. Who was Barabbas? Jewish men had names and identified them with their fathers. Simon Peter, for example, is called Simon the son of Jonah. Barabbas is never identified by his given name, and his name is not much help either. Barabbas means son of Abba, or son of daddy. He could have been anybody's son, and that's just the point. Barabbas, the son of an unnamed father, committed a crime. Because Jesus died in his place, this man was set free. We too are sinners and criminals who Jesus has died for in our place. Our sins, and we have been set free. We don't have to be very important people to accept our freedom in Christ. The fact that, in fact, thank Jesus, God adopted us all of his own sons. As his own sons and daughters, he gives us the right to call him Abba Daddy.
Yeah, right.
And you can also, for a little bit more reference, I'm not going to read it. You can look at Galatians 4, verses 4 through 6.
Yeah.
Kind of give you a little more on that. Cool. But go ahead.
Oh, no, that was really it, man. And you kind of wrapped it up, like who Barabbas was, and then how, like, even though he's clearly an innocent man, that Jesus didn't even say anything. He was willing to take it on because it was the will of the Father. And also, like, and that's the gift he gives to us. So, like, no matter what you've done, you can always come to Jesus for forgiveness.
Yeah.
And he takes that place.
So, and think about this, and I don't know if you've ever thought about this. I hadn't until I got to reading through this and doing some other study. So, think about it. We're sitting here looking at this picture. Like, say if we could time travel, me and you, we could go back to the scene. We're sitting here looking at it, and we're like, why are you choosing to set Barabbas free? Choose Jesus.
Right.
Like, common sense.
Right.
But think about the mind of Jesus in this moment. He was like, I'm dying for his sins.
Right. Right.
Like, to you, this is an unjust
Right.
thing that's going on. But to the mind of God, this is who I died for. And we don't know if Barabbas gets saved. We don't know if he gets saved. We don't know. Right. We have no other further knowledge. But the fact is that Jesus knew he was dying for the sins. Right. Not just our sins, but even Barabbas. The one that this whole area of people, this whole scenario, were spitting in Jesus' face.
Right.
God in flesh. They were spitting in his face and choosing this known sinner, this known criminal, to save over him.
Yep.
But it didn't matter to Jesus because he has a different heart and mind than we do. Because he knew this is all part of his ministry. I am dying for this person.
Right. For the sins of the world.
Now where Barabbas ended up, we don't know. Like I said, it all depends on who he chose to follow at the end of the world or Jesus.
That's right. That's good, man. Great stuff. Picking up at verse 26. We're kind of starting off in this new section. There's a lot of like Old Testament references.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna give you those, and you can go check them out too. But it just kind of it's a lot of prophecy being fulfilled in the moment that we're gonna get into. So, what's up?
I'm actually gonna pull them up, so when we get to them, we don't have to keep turning.
Okay.
But go ahead, read.
Okay, I'm gonna read and you look up. Okay. 26. Now as they led him away, they laid hold of a certain man, Simon, a Cyrenian, who was coming from the country, and on him they laid the cross that he might bear it after Jesus. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And a great multitude of the people followed him, and women who also mourned and lamented him. What does that mean?
Cried. Lamented is like a loud cry of, sorrowful noise, that type of thing.
Okay. All right. But Jesus, turning to them, said, Daughters of Jerusalem, do not weep for me, but weep for yourselves and for your children. For indeed these days are coming in which they will say, Blessed are the barren, wombs that never bore, and the breasts which were never nursed. Then they will begin to say to the mountains, Fall on us, and go to the hills, cover us. For if they do these things in the green wood, what will be done in the dry? So let's talk about that a little bit, because I know that comes from Hosea 10:8.
Yes. And Hosea 10:8 says, "The high places of wickedness will be destroyed. It is for the sin of Israel. Thorns and thistles will grow up and cover their altars."
Right.
My bad, I'm getting away from the mic again. "Then they will say to the mountains, 'Cover us,' and to the hills, 'Fall on us.'"
Yep.
Yep.
So that's
So
right there.
you're gonna see a lot of Old Testament stuff and prophecy being fulfilled, and I mean it's a lot going on in this last little section.
Right, right. But does your Bible have any commentary on this 20?
I'm sure it does. Let's see
I'd
here.
like to read that because I didn't totally understand this.
That's fine. That's why I love these type Bibles. Luke alone mentions the tears of the Jewish women while Jesus was being led through the streets to his execution. Jesus told them not to weep for him, but for themselves. He knew that in only about 40 years, Jerusalem and the temple would be destroyed by the Romans.
That's right. That's right.
This proverb is difficult to interpret. Some feel it means if the innocent Jesus Greenwood suffered at the hands of Romans, what would happen to the guilty Jews Drywood?
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That clarifies it. Okay. Uh, so verse 32 here, there were also two other criminals led with him to be put to death. Now, Isaiah 53:12 kind of mentions this as well. But I'm going to read verse 33 as well. "And when they come to a place called Calvary, they were crucified him. Where they crucified him and the criminals, one on the right hand and the other on the left." Right? But right here, Isaiah 53:12 says, "Therefore I will give him a portion among the great, and he will divide the spoils with the strong, because he has poured out his life unto death, and was numbered with the transgressors. For he bore the sin of many, and made intercession for the transgressors." Meaning us, the people on the cross that were being crucified with him. And we see Jesus' response here in a second, but that kind of points to, he literally took on the sins of the world at this at this point. 34, that's what it was. "Then Jesus said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And they divided his garments and cast lots." I know we'll have something here in a second.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right here. "And they divided his garments and cast lots, and the people stood looking on, but even the rulers with them sneered, saying, He saved others, let him save himself, if he is the Christ, the chosen of God." Okay, so you got Psalm 22.
And this kind of goes in line. Oh, it actually goes directly in line with verse 35 that we just read. And this is Psalm 22, verses 16 through 18. It said, "Dogs surround me, a pack of villains encircles me. They pierce my hands and my feet. All my bones are on display. People stare and gloat over me. They divide my clothes among them and cast lots for my garment."
Well, that's from Psalm.
Yes, and this is prophecy. I mean, this is all being fulfilled, and I mean, there's so much that we could go into that we just don't have time in this podcast. But I mean, there's even a prophecy about none of Jesus' bones will be broken,
Right.
and they weren't. I mean, because people talk about the hand. There's a misconception that the crucifixion happened through his palm, and if it would have been that, he would have had broken bones.
Yeah, it was actually the wrist.
It was actually through the wrist.
Right.
Like these Romans were very, very good at crucifixion. Like they
Right.
figured this thing out to be as most painful as they could,
Right.
to make you last as long as you could. And even when they pierced Jesus' side and the mixture of blood and water come out, I mean, nothing was broken.
Right.
None of his bones were broken. I mean, I mean, there's so many prophecies that got fulfilled, and especially this last week with Jesus' life and ministry, that I mean, like I said, you just can't go over them. There's like these graphs that you can find, you can even find them online, that references where Old Testament and New Testament intersected and
Right.
and connect to each other, and it's unreal.
Yeah, it is unreal. It is, man. So we definitely see that here. And then we see right here in verse 36, "And the soldiers also mocked him, coming and offered him sour wine and saying, "If you are the king of the Jews, save yourself." And an inscription also written over him in the letters of Greek, Latin, and Hebrew, "This is the king of the Jews." Um, then one of the then one of the criminals who hanged blasphemed him, saying, "If you are the Christ, save yourself and us." But the other answering rebuked him, saying, "Do you not even fear God, seeing you are under the same condemnation? And we indeed justify, for we receive the due reward of our deeds, but this man has done nothing wrong." Then he said to Jesus, "Lord, remember me when you come into your kingdom." And Jesus said to him, "As surely I say to you, today you will be with me in paradise." So we see one, and a lot of people. You probably heard a bunch of sermons on this, but one guy's mocking Jesus still, and the other one has a heart of repentance.
Yeah, and so it's kind of cool how you. I mean, when you think about this, I heard a pastor say it one time. So think about everything that went on. I know that we're dividing this reading into sections, but this is all one scene. So at one part of the scene, everybody crucify him, crucify him, crucify him. On the scene of this cross, one of the people is mocking him. You know, there's even a thing in there that says, "Oh, if you're the Son of God, he can get himself down." You know,
Right.
and he could have.
Yeah, you
I
good.
mean, he's Jesus. He could. He's God in flesh. He could have done whatever he wanted to.
Right.
But he stayed up there. He stayed out of there out of compassion for us and the salvation of our souls.
Right.
To be in relationship with Him. There was nothing keeping Jesus on that cross other than His love for us.
Yeah,
Because I mean, nothing could hold Him.
right.
But what I was going at is, you see these two people on this cross, and in essence, the only person who, in somewhat shape, form, or fashion, asked for forgiveness is this one person on the cross beside him. That says, you know, remember us when you come into your kingdom.
Yeah.
But what did Jesus say? You know, he says, forgive them, for they know not what they do.
Right.
And so one person asked for it in the scene, but he poured it out for everybody. But
Yeah.
all you got to, and it's real easy to get with salvation. How do you get it?
Yes.
You ask and you believe.
Yeah, that's right. And I just want to talk to you about verse Luke 22, kind of coming into 23. But we talked about this in the last episode, and a couple other times probably, but about how they literally, you talked about Judas. Satan entered him because he had not really received Jesus Christ. Then the Pharisees, all falsely accusing Jesus. Jesus said that their father was the father of lies, meaning the devil.
Mm-hmm.
And so we see this war of Jesus Christ and Satan, and they're trying to, and Satan is literally trying to, when he to kill Jesus, right? Not knowing what's the victory gonna be.
Yeah,
and so it's like he knew like the Father's will was this to happen, and like he literally was obedient unto death for us. That's how much he loves us.
While we were still sinners,
Right.
Christ died for us. But yeah, like you said, it's fun. It's like the enemy, Satan, has this master plan. Oh, I'm going to get one of his disciples to betray him and turn him
Right.
over and be done with it.
Right.
And it's like God's like, well, hold my line and watch this.
Yeah, this is
like,
my plan.
You are about to make me fulfill my purpose.
Right.
Like, not only that, but after I perish and I'm in limbo for 3 days, I'm coming to kick your butt.
That's right.
Like,
yeah.
It's like, hey, I'm about to come defeat you, dude. Like,
Right.
I'm about to show you have no power.
I know, and we're definitely gonna get into that. And
I'm sure he didn't say I'm going to come kick your butt, but
he probably
that's that Louisiana vernacular.
yeah yeah
That's the Louisiana redneck translation.
that's it. Oh man. Okay, so verse 44. Now it was about the 6th hour, and there was darkness over all the earth until the 9th hour. That's a lot of darkness.
Mm-hmm.
When the sun was darkened and the veil of the temple was torn in two. Okay, and I'm gonna read this next verse and then we're gonna talk about it. And when Jesus had cried out with a loud voice, he said, "Father, into your hands I commit my spirit." Having said this, he breathed his last. Okay. So let's talk about the temple. We'll read in Exodus 22, verses 33. You can just read that real quick.
We wrote that down wrong. It's actually Exodus 26, verse 33.
I'm dyslexic.
Yeah, but it's all good. Exodus 26, verse 33 says, "Hang the curtains from the clasp and place the Ark of the Covenant law behind the curtains. The curtain will separate the holy place from the most holy place." And why this is important is when Jesus died, he breathed his last breath. The veil was torn,
Yeah.
which and this is Jesus showing us that no longer is the Spirit of God, a relationship with God, separated by a veil. And this goes back into the Holy of Holies, back in the Old Testament, how they had to commit their sins or basically speak with God. Basically, they would give their sin basically list, their sacrifice to the priest of whatever the region, the elected priest or the chosen priest. He would go into the Holy of Holies and burn the incense and pray to God
Right.
for the people for the remission of their sins. Now, you've heard this before, and there's even a song about it. It's like "Let Incense Arise" or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And when the offering was burnt, the smoke, the incense that would arise or burning the incense,
Right.
that was symbolic of that prayer
Going
up
up
to
to
heaven.
heaven. Right. Yeah.
But basically, when this veil torn, man, this was showing you like, hey, this veil that separates God from you personally,
Yeah.
it's torn. It's no longer like you now can have a direct relationship with God.
And the veil that was in the temple was not like grandma's hand knitted blanket. This thing was huge.
Yeah.
And like,
And it would not have torn easily.
no, like,
One would even say, unless God intervened, this was impossible.
yeah, this is a big veil, like, and it was very thick and very heavy. But we see that it just split. You know, that's it. Obviously, it was God who did it. You know,
It's almost like he did that on purpose.
he did. Obviously, it was part of the prophetic word. Having said this, he breathed his last. So when the centurion saw what had happened, he glorified God, saying, "Certainly, this was a righteous man." And the whole crowd who came together to that sight, seeing what had been done, beat their breast and returned. Oops. But all his acquaintances and the women who followed him from Galilee stood at a distance watching these things. So, we see even at his death, some people came to a realization.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So,
we actually passed up, but in verse 46 of this reading,
oh yeah,
where
we sure
it said,
did.
where Jesus, he said, "Father, into your hands I commit my spirit."
Oh yeah,
That's directly quoting Psalm 31:5. "Into your hand I commit my spirit. Deliver me, Lord, my faithful God."
oh wow,
And like I said, it's all these, like, Jesus didn't just say this by coincidence.
yeah,
He
absolutely
knew he
not.
was quoting Psalm.
Right,
Anybody who would have heard it, like, he's quoting Psalm.
right.
I knew that one.
There's a prophecy about him.
Yeah, I mean, it's
So-
all a prophecy about him. I mean, this is all laying the groundwork and foundation. Like he said, he's been telling them since the beginning who he is, laying it out, and they're still not getting it. And it's like, hey, listen.
Right. And speaking of prophecy, before we get into the last 6 or 7 verses, there was this statistics guy, and he went in.
Heard this.
Yeah, he went into like how like the prophecies of Jesus. He said during his lifetime, he fulfilled over 300 prophecies. He said just for 8 of those prophecies, because they were written thousands of years, some 800 to 1,000, before. He said just for 8 of those prophecies, he said you would have had a better chance of Texas, the state of Texas, which is huge, covered in silver dollars. Okay, marking one, going and then flying a helicopter over it, throwing that marked one randomly in Texas, and have a blind man find it.
Yeah.
He said it's literally impossible without God to have all these prophecies fulfilled.
Yeah.
And so that was just an amazing way to put it.
Yeah.
So you want to read 50 through 56?
I will. "Now behold, there was a man named Joseph, a council member and a good, just man. He had not consented to their decisions and deed. He was from Arimathea, a city of the Jews, who himself was also waiting for the King of God. This man went to Pilate and asked for the body of Jesus. And just to kind of throw a little context up there. Joseph of Arimathea was a very wealthy man.
Yeah. Right.
Um, then he took it. Then he took it down, wrapped it in linen, and laid it in a tomb that was hewn out of rock, where no one had ever lain before. That day was the preparation, and the Sabbath drew near. And the women who had come to him from Galilee followed after, and they observed the tomb and how his body was laid. Then they returned and prepared spices and fragrant oils, and they rested on the Sabbath according to the commandments.
There you go. So, and the reason why they did this, because bodies stink when they start to decay, so they put fragrances and spices to kind of help preserve that and help it. But anyway, I'm excited because we're getting into the last chapter of Luke, and it's the whole basis of Christianity, the resurrection of Jesus Christ.
Yep.
So, did you have anything else to say about that?
No, I mean, but just following through this, man. Like I said, I know we have been on Luke for a long time.
Yeah,
We started started this podcast in August of last year.
Yeah.
And we've had a few episodes where we didn't do this. We got into some guest speakers and kind of went into some other stuff. But for the main thing, we've been in this for a year.
Right.
And it still doesn't even do justice on, what all Jesus did.
Oh, no.
But the whole reason about this is just the main thing. Understanding just on such a slight scale what he did for us. Because we can't understand on the grand scheme of things what he did.
Right.
Because, we're not God.
Right.
But he loved us enough to put on our skin, come down, live a sinless life. And the crap that we did, think about your whole life. Think about the worst things you ever did.
Right.
Imagine they were on display for the whole world to see. Like it was on HD, TV, big screen. Jesus said, I'm going to die for that one. I'm going to die for that one. Oh, that sin? Ooh, that one's a little ugly. No, but I'm going to die for that one too.
Right.
Well, no matter what you did, he knew that you couldn't be in a relationship perfectly with God. So he's like, I'm going to take that punishment.
Yeah.
I'm going to put it on me. Therefore, whoever believes in him and accepts him as Lord and Savior will be saved.
Yep.
Confess in your mouth and believe in your heart.
Right.
And there's nothing, like we've said this a million times, and I'll say it a million more. It doesn't matter. There's nothing that you've done that is too ugly for Jesus to come fix up.
That's right.
And shine light on. Darkness cannot exist where light is at.
Right.
If you don't know who you belong to, read this. I mean, you got almost the whole book of Luke on our podcast. I mean, you can always go back and watch it and kind of understand. But do not go through another day without making him Lord and Savior. Because you don't know when your last day is. You may not have it. Oh, I'll give my life to God when I'm older. I'll give my life to God when I settle down. When I get done whoring around, then I'll come to God.
Right. He loves you that much. He's willing to die for you. Well, he did die for you. So, anyway, thank y'all for watching. Episode 30-something.
I think 32.
Yeah. And just join us next time as we wrap up the book of Luke. We're excited about it. And Thursday mornings, Black Rifle Coffee, 6 a.m.
6 a.m.
Men of Courage Bible Study. August 2nd, Men of Courage event, also at Black Rifle Coffee. 5 p.m. The doors open up. Y'all come check it out. And
come win you a shotgun.
Come win you a shotgun.
Willie Robertson.
Yeah, that's right.
Dynasty.
And Devin will be there. He's famous enough. So, anyway, thank you for watching Modern Day Messengers. We'll see you next time.
Y'all have a blessed night.